Welcome, true crime lovers. This is Underage and Full of Rage. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Underage and Full of Rage, the podcast where the convicted are minors and their crimes are anything but. I am your host, Becky, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Adam.
Hello.
So today we are heading to Hendersonville, Tennessee, which is located in Sumner County, and it is considered to be a part of the Nashville metropolitan. We are off to a great start. Metropolitan area. And as of 2020, there was a reported 61,753 people living there. And it is the fourth most populous city in the Nashville area. And with it being so close to Nashville, 18 miles to be exact, it's no wonder that apparently a lot of singers and songwriters are affiliated with the city. Johnny Cash, Kelly Clarkson, and Taylor Swift, just to name a few. So today we are going to be talking about the Davis family, who, after experiencing a tragic death, ended up moving to the Hendersonville area for apparently like a fresh new start. And in 2007, Melanie Davis, who was a loving wife and mother, found herself having to raise two young boys on her own after losing her husband to Lou Gehrig's disease. So for those of you who do not know, Lou Gehrig's disease, or ALS, is a progressive rare disease that is fatal. It usually affects people between the ages of 40 and 70, and it causes the nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord to become impaired. These nerves gradually degenerate, causing the person to lose the function of their muscles throughout their entire body, eventually leading to paralysis and respiratory failure. That sounds absolutely terrible.
God awful.
Didn't your cousin or something have it? Right? In New York? The one that lived upstate, didn't she have it?
Yeah. Was it that or was it the other one?
There's another one. I thought it was ALS. I thought she had Lou Gehrig's disease.
I thought it was too.
Which, awful.
Yeah.
That just sounds like a slow,
miserable way.
Yeah, I don't know. That just sounds terrible. So after Melanie lost her husband and the kids lost their father, there was concern growing around one of Melanie's kids, 9-year-old Zachary. Zachary, who is already known for being quiet and a little odd, had started to become noticeably more withdrawn than normal. So, Melanie decided to take him to see Dr. Bradley Freeman at Vanderbilt University Medical Center. The doctor noted that Zach was displaying behaviors that demonstrated signs of a mental defect. Zach had a total of 4 sessions with Dr. Freeman, during which he claimed to hear voices, once describing how he was hearing the voice of his recently deceased father. So sources indicated that Zach was diagnosed with a depressive disorder and schizophrenia. It was stated that Zach seemed to be stuck in stages 1 and 2 of grief, which, is numbness and depression, and that he was never really able to move on to that stage 3, which is the recovery stage for grief. So some people believed this failure to successfully move through the natural stages of grief probably were the result of Melanie pulling Zach from therapy prematurely to move to Hendersonville for the family's attempt at that fresh start. But this also may be a judgment call people are making in retrospect, honestly, because as the story goes on, you will see that although Zach's behavior when speaking to detectives appears to be an obvious red flag, he actually didn't display anything too concerning leading up to the incident. So it's kind of really, I feel like a hard call to make. I feel like in retrospect, yeah, you could say that, but
yeah, hindsight's 20/20.
Always.
It's easy.
Because I'll go on to explain certain behaviors and stuff, or not to explain, describe certain behaviors, and there's many aspects to the story where he seems just like a regular normal kid outside of his odd demeanor and being a little quiet. So let's fast forward to the year 2012. It's been at least 5 years or so since Zach lost his father, and while Melanie is coping with the loss of her husband, she's trying to also keep her boys happy. So with all of this going on at home, Melanie also, was maintaining her career as a paralegal, and she also would train as a triathlete. So little information is provided about her older son, Josh, who appears to be, just a normal average kid. But Zach, on the other hand, is definitely unique, to say the least. He was known to be an outcast who kept to himself, and he was extremely quiet. He also spoke in a low, monotone voice, which is a little off-putting when you hear it, because in your mind, you're like, wait, you're only 15. Why are you talking like a demon? It's definitely strange. I recommend watching his interrogation video and or his interview with Dr. Phil to really grasp what I'm talking about. I literally just showed you this video, and you can comment to this as well.
Yeah, that's some very monotone, creepy monotone.
Demon. He sounds like almost like possessed in a way. It's very
There's like nothing behind him. It's just like
deep, flat affect. Yeah, he's got a very flat affect. He doesn't really even like open his mouth when he talks. Like he's very.
It looks like he's got a big ass underbite too or something.
Yeah, it does. I was thinking that too. Like he's also very like stiff in the mouth. Like it doesn't seem like he's like loose at all. He's very tense.
Yeah.
Very, very tense. So regardless of his loner,
he's in an interrogation room. So
well, if you also
good reason to be kind of tense.
I was gonna say though, if you also watch the Dr. Phil interview, because of course there's a Dr. Phil interview. Well, if you watch that, he's this exact same way. It's very. Yeah, he's got the same exact like.
So that's just him.
Yeah, he's got like that deep monotone, flat affect voice. It's very with the very like he doesn't really open his mouth. Very tense. Like I don't even know. He's stiff. He's just stiff. So regardless, though, of his loner demeanor and, creepy voice, there wasn't really any apparent signs that he was a violent person with violent, disturbing thoughts, which is why when news of what happened on August 10th, 2012 at the Davis' home was released, it was actually a bit surprising. So that day, Melanie, who is 48, Zach's only 15 at this time, and his older brother Josh is only 16. They all went to the movies together, and, everything appeared to be fine. Zach was acting like his usual self, nothing out of the ordinary. They all returned home, at which point Zach went and packed a backpack and satchel with clothing, notebooks, a toothbrush, gloves, ski mask, and a claw hammer. So while Zach is packing his bags, Josh stated he, at some point went into his mom's room where she was working out. It sounded like she was doing some calisthenics or something. So he said he joined in, for like a round or two. And then he said he just, was done talking to her and he went off to, his room. So it's believed that Melanie went to bed around 9 p.m. that night based off of Zach's accounts of what transpired. And he said while Josh and Melanie, were doing their own things, when they returned home, Zach was developing his plot on how, he was going to murder his family and get away with it. So I don't even know. Because it's like nothing suspicious is happening. It's like when you see Josh telling his account, it seems so ordinary. And then it's like, meanwhile, while you're thinking everything's all cool and fine, your brother's literally not even 100 feet away plotting your death.
That is fucking insane.
After just spending a completely normal night at the movies with him. Is that not crazy?
That is fucking insane.
Like, what do you... I just feel like the afterwards of finding that out, like, that's gotta fuck with you so bad.
How does it not?
Because...
I don't know, I feel like I look at everybody differently. Like, what are you thinking of?
Well, wouldn't you also go forward always being uneasy because the second you think everything's fine, you'd be like then expecting something terrible to happen because the last time you thought everything was like normal and fine, something terrible happened?
Fucking end up living like, what's her name in that Halloween where she's got the fucking huge lights all over the house and shit.
Oh, one of the newer ones.
Yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Which the first and second, well, the first one was good. The second one was okay. The third one was god awful. We shouldn't even. Okay, back to it. So Zach stated he waited till around 11 p.m. and made sure everyone was asleep before grabbing a sledgehammer from the garage and slowly entering Melanie's room. While Melanie was fast asleep, Zach lifted the sledgehammer and struck his mom with it. After the first hit, Melanie began to seize up, at which time Zach struck her again and again and again until Melanie was dead. Zach had hit Melanie with the sledgehammer a total of 20 times before locking and closing the door behind him. Zach then proceeded to try and drag the lawnmower upstairs into the
20 fucking times with a sledgehammer?
Yeah, I would think that'd be very fucking tiring. It's gotta be heavy. Like, how much does a sledgehammer weigh?
I want to say 10, 20, and 30 pounders.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, even if it's a 10 pounder, you bash something with that 20 times, what the fuck is left?
Not much. Not much, as we will see. So after he tried to drag the lawnmower upstairs into the family game room, he was struggling too much. He said he couldn't do it. So instead, he decided to douse the room in whiskey, and he set it on fire, or attempted to set it on fire, I should say. Because luckily for Josh's sake, because Josh is home sleeping. So luckily for Josh's sake, Zach shut the door after setting the fire. And by doing this, it helped the fire stay in the room rather than spread. So when the house's fire alarm started going off, Zach, who was still like wrapping up his plan, he ended up panicking and running from the scene. He fled the house. So Josh is now awoken by the sound of the alarm, and at first he thinks it's something in his, like, going off in his room, because if you're thinking about coming out of it, like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know, it's like grandma's boy, like, what's happening?
Why are you doing this to me?
Yeah, so that's where he's at. He's like, what the hell is going on? What's happening, basically? And then he realizes, oh, it's the fire alarm going off. So he gets up and first goes looking for Zach, because the way the house looked like it was set up, it looked like him and his brother, or him and Zach, I should say, were upstairs, but Melanie's room was downstairs. So when he realizes it's the game room that's on fire and Zach is nowhere to be found, he runs downstairs to his mom's room, but he can't get in because the door's locked. So he ends up having to kick in the door, and when he does, all he can see is his mom in a very bloodied state. And Josh said that after he saw his mom, he started freaking out and he didn't know what to do, so he just ran out of the house and immediately called 911. Firefighters and police arrive on the scene and realize very quickly that the woman downstairs, who was severely bludgeoned to death, obviously did not die from the small fire that never surpassed the game room. They also discover that one of her two sons is missing, so a search for the 15-year-old Zach begins. He's picked up not too long after, walking by himself and apparently trying to head out of town. From here comes probably the creepiest interrogation I have ever witnessed. You saw a clip of it.
Yeah.
So, in an extremely low and monotone, almost demonic voice, Zach confesses to investigators that he murdered his mother and intentionally set the fire in hopes of killing his brother Josh in his sleep. When asked by investigators why, Zach stated he didn't want to tell them the reason. So in order to clarify, the investigators asked Zach, "You know why you did it, but you don't want to say." To which Zach said yes. He told the investigators that he heard his dad's voice telling him to kill his mother, and when they asked Zach if he could turn back time, would he do anything differently, Zach replied, quote, "I probably would have killed Josh with the sledgehammer too," end quote. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. So.
That's like, whew.
Yeah. It's just, if you watch it, it's just so, there's just no emotion. It's just so, even when he says that line, there's just nothing. So Zach also stated that he chose the sledgehammer so he wouldn't miss, and that it was the weapon that, posed the best chance of killing her. So clearly he's very, apparent in his thought process. And Zach never, like I said, showed remorse for his actions, not even when investigators showed him pictures of his mom's blood-soaked body. Throughout the interrogation, Zach gives very short answers, mostly no sir and yes sir responses. The only time he showed the investigators anything was at the very end when the investigator asked him if he always spoke through his eyebrows, And Zach laughed a little. And then he said that he didn't even realize he did that. And he kind of had like, when he laughs, like he kind of also has like a tiny smirk. And then his laugh was, I feel like
it's all sinister and shit.
Well, it's also just kind of like, it's weird that out of all the emotion, like, or the only emotion I should say you get out of this kid is that moment. Like, that laugh was legit the most emotion they got out of the hour-long interrogation. And it's weird because when you watch it, the moment to me, like, reads as him almost being pleased with himself that the investigator asked that, or that was like, that was the impression he gave off. Like, he was like, pleased, like, huh, that's, like, it's one of those, like, I can't even, like, I don't know. I just think, like, him talking, I don't know, like, it's hard to say because I don't know if him talking like that was a calculated move on his part, or if that's just genuinely, like...
That's just him.
Yeah, that's the only thing. But it's a weird moment because I feel like he's definitely pleased with himself that was asked. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. I just keep laughing like that little, like, I just recommend watching it because it's, ugh. Okay, so then 2 days before his trial started, while in jail, Zach, like I said, sat down with Dr. Phil. And during the interview, this is where he revealed that he killed his mom because she wasn't taking care of the family, according to him. So he also laughed during odd times, particularly when he was describing how large and heavy the sledgehammer was, and how when he was hitting his mom, it sounded like a wet thumping. Like, he legit giggles during that.
Ugh.
He's like, it's like a wet thumping. And then his laughter prompted Dr. Phil to ask if he laughed while he was hitting her, and Zach replied yes. Dr. Phil then
asked... fucking horrible.
It's like sinister, but I wonder if that's true.
Shock value, yeah.
I wonder if it's true. So Dr. Phil then asked why he laughed, and Zach replied that he thought she, meaning Melanie, deserved it. Zach also admitted he hit his mom so many times because he wanted to make sure she was dead. So going into trial, Zach's defense was very clear that Zach murdered his mom and, that he attempted to murder his brother as well. That was obvious. Their strategy for getting a lighter sentence was to prove that due to his mental illness, he was incapable of planning and premeditating the murders. And even though Zach told investigators that he had been planning to kill his mother for several years, the jury struggled because he was, a kid who clearly had some mental shit going on, but at the same time, his actions demonstrated a kid who was playing out a plan he had strategically thought about. And now I want to interject here because, again, since doing this podcast, obviously a lot of discussion around mental state and whether they are legally insane at the time comes up. And I know different states have different determinants for what deems someone legally insane. But in general, the court is essentially looking for whether an individual is fully aware of what they did. So with that in mind, the premeditating shows that the person knows what they are doing because they had the time to think, plan, and go through with it. So again, like, how could you be, I don't know. So where I'm going with this is I started thinking about how his defense is claiming that because of his mental illness, he's incapable of premeditation and therefore should be deemed legally insane. But why can't your mental illness contribute to the premeditation part? It's kind of like what I was saying. Was that last week or the week before? Like, why doesn't that get a factor in? Like, why isn't that a contributing factor?
I feel like just because you got some kind of mental thing going on doesn't mean you can't do shit premeditated.
Exactly.
I don't understand how there's like if you were just like batshit crazy, okay, I get it, but you're not talking about people who are just batshit fucking crazy, like screaming about cats falling from the sky.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you maybe have something going on, but clearly there's other parts of your brain that are clear as day thinking and putting pieces of puzzles together because you're a functioning fucking person.
Right. And like in your right mind, you would never even contemplate killing anyone, but as one's mental health deteriorates, why is it out of the realm to say that their mental illness is, isn't the cause for even having the thoughts to plan and go through with something.
Yeah.
Like, that's my only, and I keep going back and forth with this. Like, the more we've done like these episodes, I'm starting to think like mental, like, when just because you have a mental illness doesn't mean you can't methodically plan out something, because it's the mental illness that contributes to the to the planning, in my mind. Like,
yeah, if you're like what is it? It's the one with the ups and downs.
Bipolar.
Yeah, like if you're on one of your ups and you fucking come up with a huge elaborate plan of fucking whatever.
Oh yeah, when you're in a manic
what
state. Yeah, if you're in a manic state and like your psychosis, yeah, you're in a state of psychosis, and you're in your mind, to you A, B, and C make sense. Meanwhile, to everybody else, it's jumbled, but to you it's a direct like correlation and it makes sense. So yeah. But even though, no, because like I feel like then manic, it would still be a little chaotic. It wouldn't be methodical. Like in your mind you would think it makes sense, but to everybody else it's like, no, it's like chaotic.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. What I'm saying more is like,
that's a bad example.
Yeah, what I'm saying more is like, as like, say you slip further into, say like a schizophrenic or a depressive state, you can take on intrusive thoughts. And so part of a mental instability and having those intrusive thoughts, you can still be very like, not lucid. It's more of like you could still be like your thought process could still be in place or intact. But it's just you have, instead of it being intact with sunshines and rainbows, it's with death and murder.
It's bad stuff, yeah.
So instead of making like a to-do list of I have to go here, 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 your to-do list is I have to kill this person and then do this, this, and this to cover it up.
Then the body, then run.
Yeah, like I just don't think like just because you have a methodical strategic plan doesn't necessarily mean you don't have a mental illness. Like I don't think that like your mental illness didn't contribute to that, or I don't think.
I see what you're saying.
I don't think being strategic and like having the wherewithal to deliberately do actions that are obviously wrong or not in favor or a crime doesn't mean that you can't technically be insane. I don't think sanity has to come with the chaos of it all.
I got it.
Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, back to the trial. Since, is that another bug? Probably from leaving the back door open. So back to the trial. Since mental illness obviously was a huge part of this case, Zach's, paternal grandma testified on behalf of Zach and said he had suffered from severe mental illness and had received little to no help. She basically, and I don't agree, I'm putting that out there right now, she basically blames Melanie for failing to get Zach the help he needed, and these are her words, not mine. But she said that since Melanie didn't get him the help he needed, she ended up paying for this mistake with her life.
Wow.
Yeah. She then went on to say that Zach was not a monster. He's a child who made a horrible mistake. Now, his grandma did also share that after her son had died and Melanie moved the family from Kentucky to Tennessee, Melanie had cut her out of their lives. So I just find it interesting that when she does have a moment to speak, she's choosing to basically blame Melanie for her own death.
No bias in that opinion.
Which you can be upset that your daughter-in-law took your grandkids away, but to turn around and act like she was at fault for this is absurd.
I think that's, like, that has some level of just, to me, some level of just, like, evil. Like, that's just, I don't know. You're just kind of evil.
Evil? I feel like that's a strong word, but I mean,
you're blaming.
You're entitled to your own opinion.
Bludgeoned to death with a sledgehammer by their son for that happening.
Yes.
I feel like there's like a little hint of there's a hint of evil behind that.
Okay.
Not evil in like I'm gonna murder you, like A little bit of like.
See, I feel like it's just heartless, and I feel like it's more of like you're just mad. So to say that more like spiteful or something. I don't know.
No, I feel like there's a little evil in that.
But okay.
Like that's.
I'll give it to you.
To me, that's like, there's evil in you because you're literally blaming somebody who was bludgeoned to death for their own bludgeoning.
Because you're mad. Yeah, essentially. I see what you're saying.
I didn't get my way.
I see what you're saying.
Like, you're fucking evil.
Yeah. Okay. Again.
I'm just saying.
I'll give that to you. The one thing I will say, and this goes back to what I was saying earlier about red flags and shit. So from an outsider looking in, I can understand why someone may think that this kid clearly needed help. But when you see the dynamic between the three of them through their text messages and shit, I understand why Melanie and Josh didn't have any concern for Zach. Because there are literal pages and pages of text messages between all of them where they are constantly talking affectionately towards one another. They end almost every single text message with a heart emoji and are clearly loving and engaging with one another. So yes, Zach may be a little quiet and talk a little weird, but he does show emotion to them. So why would they think there was anything they really needed to be concerned about? I don't think they needed to be. If you look at it,
I'm sorry, I just totally spaced out.
Oh my God.
I apologize.
Where did you go?
I have no fucking idea. I was sitting right here, but I was light years away. I don't know where I just was.
Well,
I was in fucking La La Land.
So basically what I was saying, because I'm not repeating myself in a full context, but I will say in short, a summary for those of you in the back or those of you not listening. So they were affectionate. The dynamic between the three of them, Melanie, Josh, and Zach, there was affection. Like Zach was obviously a little...
They were a good little family.
Yeah, like he was a little weird and stuff, but the reason that they didn't need to have any concern or there was no, it wasn't an, red flags retrospect, but obvious in the moment is because they said I love you to each other. They ended their text messages with heart emojis all the time. Like everything was I love you, everything was affection. Like there was not this weirdness, that he wasn't this violent weird kid sitting in his room drawing weird things, dressing in all black and being nah. That's the thing, even if he was doing those, he was still affectionate and there was normal aspects to his personality that you wouldn't be concerned.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, honestly, other than being a little weird, he didn't show true signs of doing anything remotely close to this. So when the investigators are questioning Josh, you can see the shock on his face. Every time he talks to the cops, his eyes are wide and it's almost like he can't even believe he is where he is, talking about what he's talking about. And watching it, I just honestly felt so bad for him, because even when they ask him about, the way Zach talks, they're like, does he always talk like that? His response is like, yeah, he's got a low voice. And they're like, no, does he always just talk like that? And they're like, and he's just he doesn't even really understand what they're saying.
Not a loud talker, a high talker.
Yeah, they're trying,
I feel like that's the conversation that was probably had.
Yeah, it's almost like he doesn't, because he's probably so used to the way he is, he doesn't see it as, he's just no, that's him. There's no, again, that's to us. And to outside people, we're like, oh my God, this is a red flag. But to him, he's like, no, that's just how he is. That's how he talks. He's always been quiet. He's always been, by himself. That's that. That's just who he is. So, even the investigators are like, I mean, he does no, they're like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, that's how he talks. So it's not, that doesn't faze them.
Nothing out of the ordinary.
Exactly. So that's the thing. It's not he was a happy-go-lucky kid, and then the next day he's talking like this. It's just, that's how he's always been. So that's what I'm saying, to the outsider, when you first see that, you're like, this is a red flag. How could you not know this kid's gonna do something fucked up?
He's always been like that.
Exactly. So that's why I just felt so bad for him, because he's completely like blindsided by the whole thing. So the trial ended up lasting 4 days, and the entire time, it was clearly understood Zach did this. He confessed to it. He told his story several times at this point, laughing and smirking along the way. He made it very clear, he felt his mom deserved to die and that he felt nothing when she did. So when the 4th day of trial came, Zach decided to go completely rogue, and while on the stand, he changed his entire story. And with that, shocking the whole courtroom, including his own lawyer. Zach is now claiming that he didn't kill his mom, but Josh did.
Wow.
It was all Josh's fault. He's the one to blame, and Zach was just taking the fall for him. After this accusation, Zach's lawyer asked for a mistrial and for the court system to declare his client mentally incompetent. And after they took lunch, his lawyer then, clearly had enough at this point and requested to just be removed from the case altogether.
Can't blame him for that.
Like, fuck this shit. So the judge did, acknowledge that Zach's testimony did put his lawyer in a difficult situation. However, to call a mistrial because the defendant's testimony is in conflict with the lawyer's case, would set a bad precedent, and therefore the request was denied. So Zach's lawyer continued on, finishing out the trial with his original argument that Zach's mental defect rendered him incapable of premeditation. In the prosecutor's closing statement, the jurors were reminded that Zach had been planning these murders for a long time and that he had a desire to kill. The prosecutor also shared that a month after the murder, Zach told a psychologist that he put a pillow over his mom's head because she was making gurgling noises after he hit her, and Zach was afraid it would end up waking up Josh. So in addition to this, the jurors were reminded that Zach deliberately locked the door to prevent Josh from being able to help his mom in any way, and that Zach, prior to the incident, packed bags and threw his phone in a ditch to elude police, which shows his mental capacity for premeditation and thoughtful planning. Or that could be showing that he's declining in his mental state. Am I wrong?
That could go either way.
I feel like that's not... I get what they're saying, but at the same time, with all we know now, even though it's still very little, with mental illness, why isn't that also then seen the opposite side of the spectrum, where it's that just shows of a declining fast?
Not enough experts have agreed. That's
true.
Idea. I honestly don't know.
Well, I just feel like they don't explore it as much as they used to anymore. I feel like exploring it has stopped, and now they're just give them medication. You have OCD.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I just don't know. I feel like there's more that needs to go into that. So in the end, the jury felt that Zach was mentally competent and understood what he did. And on the 4th day of the trial, after deliberating for 3 hours, the jury came back with a verdict of guilty. And Zach was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of his mom, Melanie Davis, and he also received an additional 20 years for the attempted murder of his brother Josh and aggravated arson. Now in Tennessee, a life sentence means a minimum of 60 years, which I was surprised about, with the possibility of parole after 51 years. But since he was sentenced to serve his time...
That is life no matter what. If you're 18, you get 60 years. You're not coming out until you're 78. 78.
Sure, I can't do math like that. What do I look like? Fucking calculator? But... I know, I was just surprised because I would think Tennessee would be a little harsher,
Oh, I got life is life,
yeah,
Texas is probably you're doing life.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. They always say Texas loves to kill people. That's what I was saying. I would think Tennessee would be a little harsher. That's all. But so since he was sentenced to serve his time consecutively, it would end with the additional 20, he has to spend a minimum of 71 years in prison. So that's essentially his life sentence, quote unquote. And after the trial was done and Zach was sentenced, a friend of Melanie said he was relieved that it was finally over and now Josh can begin to move on and live the life he was meant to live. And I think we can all agree on that. I just feel terrible for Josh. I don't, where do you go? No one wins in this story. Melanie is dead, and Josh now has no parents left, and his only immediate relative is the one who is not only responsible for this, but is also essentially spending the rest of his life in prison as a result. I don't know, where Josh and Zach's relationship stands today, but I was wondering, if you were in this position, do you think you could forgive your sibling? Like, if your sister did this, what would you do?
Oh, I don't know, man. You like bludgeoned my mother to death. I don't know about that.
And tried to kill you.
Yeah.
And tried to kill you. That's a big part of it.
I think that'd be a pretty big, nah, I'm good. You go fuck yourself.
Be done.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I think that's fair. I'm a firm believer, just because they're family doesn't mean you have to keep them in your life, so I probably would do the same.
Yeah.
Like, you're not the person that I thought you were.
Yeah, you at that point, I'm good.
If you could rub me out that, snuff me out,
yeah, you were willing to fucking bludgeon me to death, set me on fire, do whatever the fuck. I'm good with just walking away.
You didn't care about my suffering. You didn't care about our mom suffering.
I'm not gonna kill you. I'm just gonna walk away.
Yeah. And on that note, everyone, that was the shocking murder of 48-year-old Melanie Davis and the attempted murder of 16-year-old Josh Davis. And with that, you know what time it is, my friends. Adam, who do you have for us this week?
Dude named Alex, who was 32 at the time. This is in 2021, San Jose, California. The charges are serious, like vehicular manslaughter and DUI. That is serious.
Yeah.
But, so this fucking guy, he was hanging at some bar, and apparently he was having a real good time.
Oh, no.
Like, a little too good of a time.
Oh, no.
People said he was like, dude, blow right out of the open.
What?
He was trying to take some chick's shirt off and shit. Then they were like, all right, dude, you gotta fucking go. So him and this woman, unknown, named 24 years old, go out to his truck. Apparently owned by his or a construction company. Might have been his. Witnesses are like, yo, they were in the truck for like a half an hour. All of a sudden, the truck fucking comes barreling across the parking lot. It ends up killing a woman and hurting 2 other people. Well, it turns out the last thing this guy remembers is walking to his truck.
Oh, no.
However, the woman that was with him was giving him a blowjob at the time the whole thing happened. She had no idea the car was moving.
Oh, shit. Why would he decide to drive?
He might have just fucking jacked some shit into gear.
Oh, you think that, they weren't deliberately moving?
Yeah, it might have just been like
Probably turned on the car, get some tunes. I would think in California, probably not too cold.
It's not funny because somebody was killed, but
You're just laughing because it's the blowjob.
The story, come on. You're like a train wreck. You're hanging out in a bar. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lead up.
Yeah.
The lead up. I'll give you that. The lead up was... But I still, regardless, you're a shithead.
Well, did he come?
There's just some things you don't talk about. And with that, thank you for listening, everyone. And if you liked hanging out with us, let us know by following us on Spotify, Instagram, and or YouTube. If there is a case you would like us to cover, hit us up and let us know. And we will be back next week with another episode. So until then, make your dash count and don't be a douche.
Don't get roadhead.
See ya. Well, roadhead's not bad.